Okay, so we're going to be diving into some pretty fascinating territory today. It all about the connection between what we do with our bodies and how we feel mentally.
Yeah, for sure.
And, you've given us a really interesting mix of articles. You got stuff from fitness pros, research on mental well being, even government resources on healthy habits.
Yeah, it's a pretty multifaceted look at this connection. It's something people talk about a lot, but maybe don't fully understand.
Right, exactly. So, our mission today, I guess you could say, is to go beyond the surface level.
For sure.
What does the science actually say about how exercise, diet, even things like yoga impact our mood, our stress, our overall mental state?
We'll be uncovering the mechanisms at play, hopefully some surprising insights and practical tips for the listener.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so, you know, uh, everyone's heard of the runner's high,
Right.
that feeling of euphoria after a good workout.
Right.
Endorphins, right? Is it really just endorphins, though?
Well, yeah, endorphins do play a role. They contribute to that feel-good effect. But there's actually a whole symphony of neurochemicals involved.
Oh, okay.
Take dopamine, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
This plays a crucial role in motivation and pleasure. And studies show exercise can boost dopamine production.
So that's why I actually sometimes want to go for a run. Like my brain is chasing that dopamine hit.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh.
And then there's serotonin, a key player in mood regulation. Interestingly, some research suggests that for mild to moderate depression, regular exercise can be as effective as antidepressants in boosting serotonin levels.
Wow, see, that's pretty powerful. I always knew exercise was good for you, but I didn't realize it could be that impactful on mood.
It's really compelling evidence, and it highlights just how impactful physical activity can be on brain chemistry.
Wow.
The Australian Institute of Fitness article, they even point out how exercise increases norepinephrine,
Okay.
which helps with focus and alertness.
Oh, so battling that brain fog.
Exactly.
That's another bonus.
Another bonus for
Yeah.
sure.
Okay, now I'm always thinking about food.
Right.
So what do the sources say about the food-mood connection?
Yeah, well, get ready to rethink your grocery list.
Okay.
It's not just about eating healthy in a general sense, but about understanding how specific foods impact brain function.
Okay, so give us the details. What should we be loading up on?
Okay, well, omega-3 fatty acids are a great place to start.
Okay.
You'll find them in fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines, as well as flax seeds and walnuts. They're really crucial for brain health, and research shows they can reduce inflammation, which has been linked to depression.
I've always heard about omega-3s for heart health, but the connection to mental health is new to me.
It's a growing area of research.
Wow.
And then we have antioxidants, the defenders of our cells, you could say. They combat free radicals, which can damage brain cells.
So more blueberries and dark chocolate? I'm on board with that.
Exactly. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, even a bit mind-boggling. The Australian Institute of Fitness article, they dive into the gut-brain connection.
Okay.
The bacteria in our gut actually communicate with our brain, influencing our mood.
Wait, so what I eat can change the messages my gut sends to my brain?
Yeah, it's a two-way street.
Wow.
A balanced gut microbiome, the community of bacteria in our gut, is linked to better mental well-being. Probiotics, found in fermented foods like yogurt and sauerkraut, are key to supporting gut health.
Probiotics, those are the good bacteria, right? So eating for a happy gut might actually lead to a happier brain.
The research is certainly pointing in that direction.
Wow, that's incredible.
But just as there are foods that support mental well-being, there are those that can hinder it.
Yeah, let me guess. Processed foods, sugary drinks, all the usual suspects.
Yeah, you got it. These foods can lead to inflammation, blood sugar spikes, and crashes, all of which can wreak havoc on mood and energy levels.
Makes sense. It's like fueling your brain with premium fuel versus the cheap stuff.
That's a great analogy.
Okay, and speaking of fueling our minds and bodies, I'm curious about practices like yoga and meditation. They're often touted for their mental health benefits, but is there actual science behind the hype?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I've tried yoga a few times and I always feel relaxed afterward, but I'd love to understand what's happening at a deeper level. Do our sources shed any light on that?
Absolutely. Yoga, for example, isn't just stretching and breathing. It's a holistic system that has been shown to reduce anxiety and depression. One study in the Journal of Psychiatry found that just 8 weeks of yoga led to a 30% reduction in anxiety symptoms.
Wow, 30%. That's significant. What's the science behind that?
Well, yoga helps lower cortisol, the stress hormone. It also boosts BDNF, or brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is essentially like fertilizer for your brain. helping it grow new connections and stay healthy.
So it's not just a temporary feeling of relaxation, it's actually changing my brain for the better. I'm sold.
And then there's meditation, particularly mindfulness meditation, which involves focusing on the present moment. It helps quiet the constant chatter of the mind, reducing worry and rumination.
I can see how that would be beneficial. Our minds are always racing, thinking about the past, worrying about the future. No wonder we feel stress.
Learning to be present can be incredibly calming and restorative.
Yeah.
The Australian Institute of Fitness article, they even highlight forest bathing, which is simply being in nature as a powerful way to reduce stress.
Soaking up the sights and sounds of nature, what's not to love? Okay, so we've talked about moving our bodies, what we eat, even quieting our minds. But is there a connection between pushing our physical limits and building mental toughness?
That's a great question, and it's something that really intrigued me as I was reviewing these sources. It seems there's a definite link between physical challenges and mental resilience.
So if I can power through a tough workout, I'm better equipped to handle a stressful day at work.
You can think of it as stress inoculation. High-intensity workouts, for example, train your body and mind to handle discomfort. And this can translate to better stress management in other areas of life.
That makes sense. It's like I'm building mental muscle alongside my physical muscles.
Exactly. And the beauty of it is that this training can come from various forms of exercise, HIIT, strength training, even endurance challenges.
So whether I'm lifting weights, sprinting, or hiking up a mountain, I'm essentially teaching myself to be more resilient.
Yeah, it's all about pushing your boundaries and proving to yourself that you can handle more than you thought you could.
Hmm.
This sense of accomplishment can carry over into other areas of life, giving you the confidence to tackle challenges head on.
This is all fascinating, but I think our listeners are probably wondering, how do I apply this to my own life?
Sure.
What are some specific things I can start doing today to boost my mental well-being?
Great question. Let's get practical. First off, workouts.
Yeah.
What comes to mind?
Well, the Australian Institute of Fitness article specifically mentions diaphragmatic breathing and pranayama as beneficial yoga practices.
Excellent. Yeah, those are fantastic starting points. And they don't require any special equipment or a gym membership. You can do them anytime, anywhere.
Right. And then there's that forest bathing we talked about.
Right.
Simply being in nature has a calming effect.
Absolutely. Studies show that even a short walk in the park can reduce stress hormones and improve mood.
Okay, so we've covered movement. What about diet?
All right, well, we know omega-3s, antioxidants, and probiotics are all important. So think fatty fish, colorful fruits and veggies, fermented foods like yogurt.
And for people who might be on a budget, are there any resources you recommend for healthy eating?
Yeah, so the Pennsylvania Psychiatric Institute article, they mention myplate.gov and the Shop Simple app.
Okay.
They offer tips for planning healthy meals and finding savings on groceries.
Those sound super helpful. And of course, we can't forget about sleep. The Pennsylvania Psychiatric Institute article emphasizes the importance of 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night
Yeah,
and sticking to a consistent sleep schedule, even on weekends.
for sure.
It's so easy to let sleep fall by the wayside when we're busy, but it's truly the foundation of good health, isn't it?
It really is. And there are so many simple things you can do to improve sleep quality. Creating a relaxing bedtime routine, limiting screen time before bed, making sure your bedroom is dark and quiet. These small changes can make a huge difference.
So what does this all mean? It seems like there's a strong case for taking care of our physical health as a key part of mental well-being. The science really backs up the idea that exercise, nutrition, and even sleep can have a profound impact on our mood, our stress levels, our overall mental clarity.
I think that's a fantastic summary. It's not about being perfect. It's about making small, sustainable changes that can add up over time. What stood out to you the most from all this information? Was there anything that surprised you or made you think differently about the connection between your physical and mental health?
I think what really resonated with me is that even small changes can make a big difference. We don't have to overhaul our entire lives overnight. We can start with something as simple as, incorporating a short walk into our day, swapping out a processed snack for a handful of berries, or trying a few minutes of deep breathing before bed.
Those are all excellent starting points. And remember, it's a journey, not a destination.
Mm-hmm.
There will be days when you nail it and days when you don't.
Right.
The key is to be kind to yourself and keep moving forward.
Absolutely. And on that note, I think we should wrap up part 1 of this deep dive here. We've covered a lot of ground, but there's still so much more to explore.
Yeah, I'm excited to continue the conversation. In part 2, we'll delve deeper into specific dietary recommendations explore the fascinating world of the gut-brain connection, and discuss practical strategies for improving sleep quality. So, stay tuned.
I can't wait.
Welcome back. Let's talk more about nutrition.
Okay, yeah, let's unpack that a bit further. I'm sure our listener is ready for, some actual advice, things they can do.
Okay, so first up, omega-3 fatty acids. They're essential fats, meaning we can't produce them ourselves, so we have to get them through our diet.
And they're not just good for brain health, right?
Right. No, they have a whole range of benefits for both physical and mental health. They're powerful anti-inflammatories, which is huge because, as we discussed, chronic inflammation is linked to so many health issues, including mood disorders.
So for those of us who aren't popping fish oil supplements, what are the best food sources of omega-3s?
Fatty fish, like salmon, mackerel, sardines, those are all excellent. But if you're not a fish person, don't worry. You can also get omega-3s from flaxseed, chia seeds, walnuts.
Okay, good to know there are options.
Yeah, lots of options.
Okay, what's next on the brain-boosting menu?
Antioxidants.
Okay.
These are like the guardians of our cells. They protect us from damage caused by free radicals, which are unstable molecules that can contribute to aging and disease. And guess what? They can impact brain health too.
I've always heard antioxidants are good for you, but how do they specifically benefit mental health?
Well, oxidative stress, which is basically an imbalance of free radicals and antioxidants, has been linked to mood disorders like depression and anxiety.
So by increasing our antioxidant intake, we can potentially protect our brains from this type of damage.
Exactly. And luckily, there are so many delicious sources of antioxidants. The colorful fruits and veggies, especially berries, dark chocolate, leafy greens, nuts, even spices like turmeric.
So eating for better mental health can actually be quite enjoyable.
It can be, absolutely. It's not about deprivation, but about making informed choices. Now, remember earlier we touched on the gut-brain connection.
Yes. I'm really intrigued by this. It's like something out of the sci-fi movie, our gut talking to our brain.
It does sound pretty futuristic, right?
Right.
But it's a reality and a crucial part of understanding how our physical and mental states are intertwined. What we're learning about the gut microbiome is revolutionizing how we think about overall health.
Can you break down how this communication system actually works?
Think of the gut microbiome as like a vast ecosystem, with trillions of bacteria living inside our digestive tract.
Wow.
And these bacteria, they aren't just passive residents. They're actively producing various neurotransmitters.
Neurotransmitters, like the ones we talked about earlier, dopamine, serotonin.
Yes, and that's where the gut-brain connection comes in. For instance, a significant portion of our serotonin, that mood-regulating neurotransmitter, is actually produced in the gut.
So when we talk about gut health impacting mental health, this is part of the mechanism. It's not just some vague idea. There's a real physiological process happening.
It's getting more concrete all the time, thanks to research.
Wow.
In addition to neurotransmitters, the gut microbiome also produces short-chain fatty acids, which have been shown to have anti-inflammatory and neuroprotective effects.
So maintaining a healthy gut microbiome could be like having a built-in support system for our mental well-being.
That's the emerging picture. But it's a two-way street. Stress can actually negatively impact the gut microbiome, leading to an imbalance in gut bacteria, which can then exacerbate mood issues.
Okay, so it's like a feedback loop. A healthy gut can support a healthy mind, but stress can disrupt the gut, potentially leading to a decline in mental well-being.
Precisely. So how do we nurture that healthy gut microbiome? Probiotics are key. These are live microorganisms that, when consumed in adequate amounts, can confer health benefits.
And we can get these from fermented foods. I've heard that's why things like yogurt and kimchi are so good for you.
You're absolutely right. Yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, these are all great sources of probiotics. They help replenish the good bacteria in your gut, promoting a healthy balance.
I love that we're learning more and more about the power of food to impact not just our physical health, but our mental health as well. It makes those healthy choices even more appealing.
It really does. And speaking of healthy choices, there's one that often gets overlooked, even though it's so fundamental. Hydration.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Even mild dehydration can negatively impact mood, energy levels, and cognitive function.
Oh, that's right. I've definitely felt that brain fog when I haven't had enough water. It's amazing how something so basic can have such a profound impact on how we feel.
It really is. Now, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about sleep. We know it's essential for both physical and mental health, but I think our listener would benefit from some specific strategies for improving sleep quality.
Yes, let's delve into that. We've all experienced those nights of tossing and turning, and how it can leave us feeling mentally drained the next day. What are some things we can do to get better rest?
Well, consistency is crucial. Try to go to bed and wake up around the same time each day, even on weekends. This helps regulate your body's natural sleep-wake cycle, known as your circadian rhythm.
I know that can be tough for people with busy or irregular schedules, but is it really that important?
It makes a bigger difference than most people realize. Our bodies crave routine, and sleep is no exception. When you stick to a consistent sleep schedule, your body knows when to wind down and prepare for rest. This can lead to deeper, more restorative sleep.
Okay, so consistency is key. What else can we do to set ourselves up for sleep success?
Creating a relaxing bedtime routine can work wonders. This could involve taking a warm bath, reading a book, or listening to calming music. The goal is to signal to your body that it's time to wind down and transition into sleep mode.
I love that idea. It's about creating a ritual that helps you de-stress and prepare for a good night's rest. What about the sleep environment itself? Does that play a role in sleep quality?
Absolutely. Make sure your bedroom is dark, quiet, and cool. These conditions are ideal for sleep. Think of it like creating a sleep sanctuary, a space that's conducive to relaxation and rest.
I can see how those factors would make a difference. It's hard to fall asleep when you're too hot or if there's a lot of noise.
Exactly. And if you struggle with noise or light, consider investing in blackout curtains, earplugs, or a white noise machine. These can help create a more peaceful sleep environment.
Those are great tips. And I think we should also mention the importance of limiting screen time before bed. I know I'm guilty of scrolling through my phone late at night, but I've heard that's not great for sleep.
You're right, the blue light emitted from electronic devices can suppress melatonin production.
Melatonin is the hormone that helps regulate our sleep cycle, right?
Yes, so when we expose ourselves to blue light in the evening, it can disrupt our natural sleep patterns, making it harder to fall asleep and stay asleep. Aim to avoid screens for at least an hour before bed.
That's good advice. And what about caffeine and alcohol? I know those can interfere with sleep as well.
You're right, caffeine can stay in your system for several hours, so it's a good idea to cut yourself off in the early afternoon. Alcohol might initially make you feel drowsy, but it can actually disrupt deeper stages of sleep later in the night.
Okay, so good sleep hygiene involves being mindful of what we consume in the hours leading up to bedtime. It's all about creating the optimal conditions for our bodies to wind down and get the rest they need.
Exactly. And remember, if you're consistently struggling with sleep, it's important to talk to your doctor to rule out any underlying medical conditions.
You know, earlier we were talking about how stress can negatively impact the gut microbiome.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to circle back to that
Yeah, for sure.
because it really highlights just how interconnected our physical and mental health truly are.
Right.
When we're chronically stressed, our bodies release hormones like cortisol.
Yeah.
And this can really disrupt that delicate balance of bacteria in our gut.
It does.
And then that imbalance can lead to further inflammation, which could worsen mood disorders. So it's like a domino effect.
Exactly. It can become a vicious cycle.
Wow. So managing stress is crucial, not just for our mental well-being, but for the health of our gut microbiome.
Mm.
So besides the things we've already talked about, like exercise, nutrition, sleep, are there other effective ways to manage stress, like tools we can use in those everyday moments when we feel overwhelmed?
Well, mindfulness practices like meditation and yoga can be incredibly powerful tools. They teach us to focus on the present moment, to observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment, and to let go of those worries and ruminations.
You know, I've heard so much about mindfulness, but I'll admit I'm still a bit fuzzy on how it actually works. Like it seems so simple, just paying attention to the present moment. How can that be so impactful on stress?
It's about training your mind to become more aware, really. Instead of being swept away by those thoughts and anxieties, you learn to notice them, acknowledge them, and let them pass without getting caught up in them.
So instead of resisting stressful thoughts, we learn to observe them without getting carried away by them.
Exactly. It's like watching clouds drift by in the sky.
Okay.
They come, they go. You don't try to control them, you simply observe them. And the same principle applies to thoughts and feelings.
That's a great analogy. You mentioned yoga earlier. Is that considered a mindfulness practice as well?
Yes, absolutely. Yoga combines physical postures, breathing exercises, and meditation, making it a truly holistic practice that cultivates both physical and mental well-being.
So it's like a multi-pronged approach to stress management. We also talked about how spending time in nature can be a stress reliever as well.
Right, yeah. There's something incredibly restorative about being in nature. Remember forest bathing?
Mm-hmm.
The Japanese have been practicing this for centuries, recognizing the therapeutic benefits of immersing oneself in the natural world.
It sounds so simple, yet so profound, just being present in nature, taking in the sights, the sounds, the smells.
Exactly. And studies have shown that it can reduce cortisol levels, lower blood pressure, and improve mood. It's like hitting the reset button on your stress response system.
So taking care of our mental health isn't just about, what we eat or how much we exercise. It's about cultivating a lifestyle that supports overall well-being.
I couldn't agree more. It's about finding activities we enjoy, connecting with nature, prioritizing sleep, and managing stress in healthy ways. It's about treating our minds with the same care and attention we give to our bodies.
We've talked a lot about how physical health can impact mental health. But I'm wondering, could the reverse also be true? Could strengthening our mental resilience through practices like meditation actually improve our physical performance?
That's a fascinating question, and it's one that researchers are starting to explore more deeply.
Okay.
There's emerging evidence that mindfulness training can enhance athletic performance by improving focus, reducing anxiety, and promoting a greater sense of self-awareness.
So it's like training the mind to support the body.
Precisely. And it really highlights the interconnectedness of our physical and mental selves. They're not separate entities. They influence and support each other in profound ways.
I think that's a great takeaway for our listeners. It's not about separating physical health from mental health. It's about recognizing that they're two sides of the same coin.
Absolutely. By taking care of our mental health, we can improve our physical health. And by taking care of our physical health, we can enhance our mental well-being. It's a beautiful, synergistic relationship.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. It's been an incredible journey exploring the fascinating connection between physical and mental health.
It has been.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed it immensely. It's always a pleasure to delve into these topics and uncover the latest scientific insights and share them in a way that hopefully empowers people to take charge of their own well-being.
And I hope our listeners have found it valuable as well. If you're feeling inspired to make some positive changes, remember that even small steps can make a big difference. Start with something that resonates with you, whether it's incorporating more movement into your day, trying a new healthy recipe, or simply taking a few moments for yourself to just breathe and relax.
And remember, it's a journey, not a destination. There will be ups and downs, but the most important thing is to keep moving forward one step at a time.
Beautifully said. Well, that concludes our deep dive for today. Thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to exploring more fascinating topics with you in the future.
Until next time, be well.